Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds. And here with me today, I have a diamond in the rough I'd like you guys to meet. This here is Connor Watkins. He is a quarterback out of Villanova. Nice to meet you, sir.
How you doing? It's nice to meet you.
Doing well, man. Came prepared with my Villanova shirt. Felt like helping you out a little bit, man. I mean, I figured I'd be meeting a guy who's generally from the same area, so hopefully we have a lot in common, a lot of good things to talk about. Had a great season yourself, man. So, buddy, let's get after it. Go ahead and introduce yourself, and let's get it going.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Connor Watkins out of Villanova, from Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Went to Loyalsac Township High School. So,
Cool. Again, you had mentioned Loyalsac Township High School, not too far away from where I'm at. Williamsport, not too far. I could probably drive to that in maybe an hour or so. So it's not so bad. But anyway, having my notes along with some football, did some basic baseball, some basketball. But buddy, before we even get to some of that, what's the earliest memory you have of playing football?
probably when I was 4 years old, 4 or 5 years old, just being in the backyard, had older siblings, older cousins. Everything we did revolved around sports. So, probably just being in the backyard, throwing the football around. Always trying to beat my older siblings or cousins. Sometimes didn't always work out to best for me, because I was always I was always smaller and a lot younger than those guys at that time.
Sure.
But I loved it. That was probably my earliest.
Gotcha. Growing up in PA, man, who were you a big fan of growing up, man? I mean, were you, I don't know, I'm just kind of assuming you were an Eagles fan.
Yeah, yep. I My earliest memory was watching my older brother watch the Eagles probably in 2006 or 7. And I just remembered like, oh, PA team, liked watching them, and then literally just became a fan off of that. And that's who I've been pulling for my time now. So
Gotcha. I'm sorry we have to end this video. No, I'm just kidding with you.
I
Obviously,
know
if you see the
I
background,
see the
we're on
yeah.
opposite ends, but I mean, it's okay. We can still disagree and be friends. That's the way it should be in life. Anyways, let's continue to talk about you and your journey. Obviously, uh, played baseball, basketball, and football, three-sport athlete in high school. Uh, Give us maybe one of your fondest memories of your high school days.
Oh man, got so many. I would say, I mean, the fondest memories for me was always the the locker room, the bus rides, the after school time on Fridays when we had some downtime before a home game and football. Those types of times just with your hometown friends, the guys you grew up with playing sports. Just enjoying those times together, playing the games that we grew up playing together and loving. And then, I mean, I think just we were we were a really good group, in terms of my grade in high school in sports. So just being able to have everybody grow up together, being successful in kind of all three sports, honestly, and then carrying that into high school was just, it was a ton of fun being with that group of guys.
Cool. You always been a quarterback?
Yeah, I've played quarterback since I can remember. So
Cool. Sometimes depending on who I talk to, some recruiters, coaches do like multi-sport athletes. Do you feel like they helped you develop as a quarterback at all, or no?
yeah, I think 100%. I've always been in the camp of growing up, being in that age range, playing multiple sports. I think you learn different hand-eye coordination things. I think you get different agility from each sport. And then obviously with a sport like baseball, your arm's going to develop, get stronger. You're also working a lot of rotational strength and power, swinging a bat and throwing, which translate a lot to playing the quarterback position. So I think all of those things helped me out tremendously, honestly, growing up.
Cool. Being recruited to college, obviously it was Villanova that gave you the opportunity, but talk me through the recruiting process and what ultimately led you to Villanova.
Yeah, I mean, the recruiting process then looks a little different than it does now. But nevertheless, it was still crazy. I mean, I remember just going to camps, not really sure how the whole thing worked. Um, and then I'll never forget, I was in the car on the way home from a college visit and got the call from Bucknell University, and they gave me my first offer. Um, and then kind of from there, it just compounded and grew, and then I kind of was getting reached out to by a lot of other schools, getting other opportunities and stuff, and wasn't really sure how to handle it, how to go about it. But luckily, I had good family that had my back and were able to look at it from a different lens. And then my high school coach helped me out a lot. So um, all those things kind of happened, and then Villanova was recruiting a kid in the grade above me, so they came to the school and they saw me play while recruiting him, and then invited me to a camp. I went to a camp. I loved the university. I thought it was beautiful. Everybody treated me extremely well. Treated me like I was a part of their family, kind of from the first time I ever went there, which I thought was kind of unique. You could see a lot of different dynamics when you go to different campuses and universities, and they stayed in contact. They talked about things other than just football. They cared about me as a person too. Um, and when they gave me the offer, I thought it was the best blend of both worlds. I cared about academics going into college too, so and I knew I wanted to study business, so it was just kind of a perfect mesh, and I loved the area. So
Nice. You get to Nova. I don't know. Did you redshirt the first season? I believe. I mean, I think that's about right. Am I being correct in saying so?
no, I redshirted my freshman year, but I played on kickoff the last regular season game of the year against Delaware, and then I played on kickoff return a couple snaps in our playoff game that year.
Interesting. Obviously, very early on, not necessarily being used in the way that you have in these past few seasons. But you did come in, and again, those first couple of years. I mean, again, 2019, not much going on. 2020, a complete like bummer for like everybody. It takes a while for you to get a set opportunity because there was a quarterback ahead of you who was riding things out and winning great games for Nova. Um, Talk about like the early days and how you were, just kind of being developed under Danny Smith.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's just that. I think coming into college, you're obviously learning a completely new offense. You're adjusting to the speed of the game, all the different intricate parts of defenses and how multiple defenses can be compared to high school. Danny came in as a transfer with time under his belt at Campbell, and I got to just learn from him, see somebody who had played in college already um, operate at that level, and then also learn from a guy who played at Villanova as well, a quarterback as our OC. So um, just I just took it all in. I enjoyed it. I appreciated my time as the backup, although obviously I'm a competitor. I wanted to compete and play. Um, I found other ways to kind of help the team, and whether my freshman year being on scout team, I every day I took the mentality of I'm going to score 10 touchdowns against our starting defense today. Um, and just appreciate it for what it was and help the team wherever I could. So
For me, as a guy who has scouted and attended some of your games, I feel like oftentimes maybe the quarterback position doesn't, I don't know, get much focus because there's a whole lot of effort that's been given to like the running backs. It's usually like, a slew of running backs that come through that system with a very solid offensive line. How would you define yourself as a quarterback? What do you feel is like maybe the best things you bring to the table as a prospect?
I mean, I think, yeah. I mean, in our system, we were always a run first team. A lot of RPO in the passing game and early downs. Um, so I mean, just kind of molding my game into that to try to give our team the best chance for success was kind of my approach. Um, in terms of my quarterback style, I mean, I think I can make quick decisions. I think I'm good at reading defenses. I think I can see things in the run game, um, because that's a lot of the stuff that we did in the RPOs was understanding who were the extra guys, different leverages and techniques D tackles and linebackers would have, and how to exploit those. So I feel confident in that stuff, and then I think I believe that I can make every throw on the field. I think I have an extremely strong arm, so just being able to make the sideline deep 16-yard comeback routes, those deep in routes, down the field throws. Um, I always love taking the top off of defenses, so I think I have a pretty good deep ball. And then just making quick decisions when need to be.
Yeah, when I've seen you, I mean, I've seen a guy who is certainly a competitor, a guy who continues to play until the last whistle is blown. I mean, you put a whole lot of toughness and grit into that position. Can be a guy who can chuck it down the field, but also a guy who has some wheels, man. I mean, he end up this past season running for over 400 yards. So that's saying something. It means that you're tough to wrangle down, and obviously you utilize a whole lot of that RPO to your benefit. Um, Obviously, more and more teams are using that these days. How does the RPO work perfectly? Can you walk through that a little bit for me?
I mean, I think in a perfect world, the defense can't be right. Based on the run play, you've got however many guys, five man blocking scheme, 6 man, 7 man. If you got two tight ends or a fullback on the field, and then based off that, your extra defender from both sides of the field that can get involved and stop the run play, and then you run your RPO based off of that. And like I said, in a perfect world, the defense can't be right because if the sandbacker wants to tuck in too tight to try to stop the run, you can hit an RPO in behind him, and if he stays out, then you've got good leverage in the run game, and the running back's got a good opportunity. Or, um, I mean, the DN the DN squeezes the edge too much on the inside zone or something like that, then the quarterback can make a play with his legs. So just all that type of stuff. I mean, I think it just gets more people involved in each and every play and make all 11 guys have to play defense, and guys can't just key in on run or key in on pass. They have to play both.
Nice. Whole lot of great talent there at Villanova that has really helped you along the way. A lot of guys sometimes who, let's just face it, we kind of have to lean on, and certainly having an offensive line who does their job very efficiently. Um, can you talk up a couple of your teammates, maybe some of the most impressive guys you've seen over your time?
Um, I mean, at the receiver position, I think of guys like Jaron Hayek, Rajon Pringle, two guys that came in with me in my class and obviously had phenomenal careers. Enjoyed throwing them the football. At the running back position, we've had a slew of great running backs. I mean, we had the three-headed monster with TD and D. Will Barley and Jalen Jackson. All three guys brought a little different um, toolbox to the field, and we were able to utilize those guys, and they were all three down backs that could play on every down. So fresh legs always, and then up front, I mean, we've had a lot of great offensive linemen in my time there. I think of guys like Michael Corby and Jake Picard, who was our center, and Nick Torres, who had an opportunity with the Chiefs last season, um, and just guys like that obviously were huge and impactful players that allowed our offense to operate the way we operate. So,
Cool. So let's look at this past season. I mean, you guys did fairly well. I mean, you end up with a 10-4 record. Went I think it's a second game in the playoffs. So I mean, certainly a very respectable outing this past season. A lot of great games. Can you walk me through some of the highlights of this past season?
I mean, the number one highlight's always going to be beating Delaware. That's our rival. That's something that's a non-negotiable. When you commit to Villanova, you commit to not losing to Delaware, and beating them at home in my last season. The last time probably that we'll ever have the Battle of the Blue with them going FBS. There's a little extra on top of this one. So that was probably number one highlight. Obviously, getting a home playoff win is huge. You always want to do those things. You never want to lose at home. And then I think just that. I mean, we didn't lose at home. Just enjoying it for what it is. You know, you're in your 6th year of college. You know this is it for you, and you've got a lot of young, talented players, especially on the offensive side. And I think I just wanted to take the approach of be a mentor, be a vet, somebody who's played in this system and played at this level for as long as I did, try to set the program up to succeed in the long run. And I just really enjoyed that process this year.
Yeah, I mean, as you had mentioned, some guys, to keep an eye on for next season. I know that there's at least one big dude on the offensive line who a lot of scouts are looking at. And so, we'll see what happens next season. I do feel, even though you guys are in the CAA, which is really one of the more competitive conferences, a lot of people sleep on the talent, around you. Do you still feel a little bit of that stigma of a small school athlete? I mean, how does that rub you?
Yes and no. I mean, I think it's an added motivator when you need it to be, but at the same time, I believe that I can compete against the best of the best. I mean, I've been on the field against UCFs and Penn States and teams in Maryland's who had guys that are going to get drafted this year on their defense. So, I mean, I think going into those games and playing against those opponents um, validates your belief and your faith in yourself, and that confidence that I have. And I've always had that confidence in myself. So I just think that playing in those bigger games when you face the competition that people kind of want to see how you can respond and play against that level. I've always cherished those opportunities and looked forward to them.
Yeah, and obviously, as you close the book on your Villanova days, I mean, you ended up getting an invite to the College Gridiron Showcase out in Fort Worth, Texas, where you had the opportunity to then again go out there against some of these FBS people and really showcase your talent and really just put on a show for all these NFL scouts. Can you kind of talk through that experience?
Yeah, it was a great experience. I mean, like you said, being able to go down there and compare yourself to guys that played FBS football in every position, seeing if there's a big difference in how fast receivers run routes and how the offensive line blocks against different people, and then especially with the secondary and linebackers, how well they move if they can cover space that much faster than what you've seen and stuff like that was a great opportunity for me. And like I said, I think more for me, I think it just validated my belief in myself. I think going down there, I think I performed really well. I think I threw the ball around really well, um, and just enjoyed that process down there. And for what it was, I just enjoyed it. Took it all in, tried to take the most of every opportunity, and didn't take it for granted for sure.
So obviously events like that, some of the more important things are really just the interviews with the scouts. Can you talk through a couple of those experiences?
Yeah, I mean, I think they were all great. I got the opportunity to talk to quite a few teams while I was down there. Um, I think it was awesome. I mean, anytime you get to sit down with a scout for an NFL team is a great opportunity. And I just tried to go in and show teams to the best of my ability with the limited time I had, who I was as a person, not just on the field, but off the field as well, who I am. Um, and and just appreciated it. Each team brought a little bit different, but they were all extremely nice people. They were all interested. They were engaged in conversation. They weren't just kind of there checking boxes, so to speak. So yeah, it was a great experience.
Cool. Well, I mean, I'm glad you got a chance to, have that experience. Obviously, sit down, interview with some, NFL brass. At this stage in our interview, Connor, I want to meet the other guy who's not a football player. Anything else about you that you want to share? I do know a couple little tidbits of information, but I mean, I want to, hear from you, man. Give us some fun facts. Tell me about what you're into, if you have any special talents or anything really that you want to share. Hit me with it.
Yeah, I mean, one fun fact about me that turns a lot of heads is I have six siblings, ranging from I think 36 to 11. So massive family, tons of cousins, got loads of nieces and nephews now. Um, and then outside of that, I grew up enjoying hunting, fishing, got into golf. I'm a love golf now. Um, and I mean, those are the things I enjoy. I mean, nowadays it's football, and when it's not football, it's family, and then just enjoying the little bit of downtime you do get.
Interesting. One of the tidbits of information that I got was that your mom is a principal.
Yeah,
Uh, how has that affected you, man? I'm just kind of curious.
she's definitely she's the brass of the family. She's the lawmaker. And funny enough, she was in a different role while I was in high school, so she was actually in a couple of my classes. Um, and it was always a fun dynamic. Obviously, it's one of those things when you're in high school and you walk into class and your mom's in there, and then other people are like, "Oh," and you just kind of got to deal with it. Um, but my two younger sisters are in well, one's in middle school and the other's just a freshman in high school, and the
They're
vice
dealing with it
principal.
now, essentially, right?
She's the vice principal of the middle school, so she's got more power, and she's even in a bigger role where there's even a bigger microscope. So I feel for them, and I'm the I don't know, the board that they kind of just bounce their frustrations off of from time to time. I get phone calls from them, so
Fair
but it's
enough.
all fun.
Also understand that you have a hand in some real estate stuff. Can you talk to me a little bit about that and maybe some of the future endeavors you might be a part of?
Yeah, I mean, I just during COVID kind of had a lot of free time and got into real estate and was studying it like crazy, and then ended up majoring in it when I got back to school. I was like, this is what I am interested in outside of sports. So did that. I got my master's then in business, and I was studying real estate. I'm probably gonna have my license here soon in the state of PA. So obviously, to kind of have that on the back burner. A lot of people have talked to me about like, oh, when you get to age and you have all the stuff in line, like let me know. I want to give money to you to invest. So we'll worry about that when we get there. But yeah, definitely, real estate's interested me for a while now. It's been something I've enjoyed learning about and just talking with people about. So
Well, I mean, it's definitely a decent fallback if we're being honest with ourselves. I mean, it's certainly solid that you have this as part of your background. I was thinking, Connor, about just kind of throwing a couple other fun questions your way. Those are just a couple of bits of information that I was able to gather about you. And so, give me a couple of your favorites, man, real quick. Favorite breakfast cereal.
ooh, growing up, it was Fruity Pebbles.
All right, that's a fun one. Make that into Rice Krispie treats, so to speak, and you'll thank me later. So, anyway, favorite movie, if you got one, or if you don't have one, give me like the last one you watched that was pretty good.
I think my favorite movie of all time would probably be the original Smokey and the Bandit.
Okay, the original. That's really taking us back. Do you I guess consider yourself an older soul or something or what?
Some say that, but no, I think it was just one of the like original like movies I watched with my dad, and I just remember thinking how like I thought it was hilarious and I thought it was a fun movie, and I've watched it multiple times since then, and I don't think I've not enjoyed it any more, any less since then. So it's just one of those historic movies that's always stuck with me, and I've always enjoyed watching it.
Cool. Favorite home cooked meal? I'm giving you tough questions.
My grandmother, we used to do Sunday dinners at my grandmother's house, and she would make spaghetti, and then she would make meatballs, and then she would make like a normal sausage and then a spicy sausage with red sauce, and it was pretty phenomenal.
Definitely sounds happening. When you're throwing sausage into the mix of spaghetti, certainly fun. One more, and then let's wrap up. Let's say favorite superhero.
Batman.
Batman. Dark Knight. Are you a Dark Knight guy? Is that kind of fair enough to say?
Yeah, I like Dark Knight.
Good stuff. Very, very good movie. A very, if people don't think that's a good movie, I don't know what to tell them. It's one of the best.
Phenomenal.
Um, it definitely ranks up there.
Yeah.
Cool. Who is playing your position? Well, who is an underrated guy at the NFL level? I think a lot of people would probably agree in like the first, in the top two or whatever at the NFL. But who do you feel is like one of the more underrated guys?
Hmm.
I'm I'm working your brain a little bit.
It's a good question. Underrated. I think it depends on how you look at it, but I would say a guy that has everything and could be in the top three easily would be like a guy like Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert has all the tools.
I
Um,
definitely agree with you. All the tools are there. Again, sometimes it's just getting over the hump of some of the teams that are perpetually in the Super Bowl conversation. But hey, it is what it is. Um, cool, Connor. It's been fun getting to know you. Obviously, we've been talking for a while about a guy who obviously wants to play alongside these guys at the next level. Um, Go ahead and say your piece, man. Tell people why they need to give you a chance at the next level. So hit them with your pitch and let's wrap it up.
yeah, I think I'm somebody who can bring a lot to the table, not just specifically on the field, but in the locker room and in the quarterback room specifically. Um, I think I bring a lot of leadership and ability, and I think I can. I'm dynamic as an athlete. I think that's something that's gets overlooked at times. And I think I can play at that level. I'm always going to bet on myself, and it's gotten me to this point. And I don't think that I'm in a position where I should stop anytime soon. So I'm going to continue to bet on myself and prove myself right. And I think any team that gives me an opportunity will find out that it was a good opportunity and a good investment. So
Well, cool. Definitely a decent size, solid athlete. Very, tough player, but who's very competitive. Who really wants to come out on top and be a winner. I think obviously that's what you're getting with Connor Watkins. I want to wish you all the best moving forward. I know you got a lot going on, buddy, but you take care, all right?
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Sure thing. Got with me again, Connor Watkins, quarterback out of Villanova. Check him out.